What is going on, guys? My name is Lextasy and welcome back to the channel. You most likely clicked on this video because of one or two reasons. A, you already purchased the 2021 Dodge Durango Hellcat and you just want to know what the pros and cons are of this 710 horsepower third row SUV. Or B, and the most likely reason is because, well, you're looking to purchase a 2021 Dodge Durango Hellcat with 710 horsepower third row SUV that does 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, which is completely unheard of, unnecessary, no reason to build this thing, but yet here it is. Now, I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys. This Durango Hellcat is already pushing 1,000 horsepower thanks to Mass Acceleration Motorsports out of Denver, North Carolina. And yes, my wife daily drives this Durango Hellcat. It is unbelievable how fast this thing goes. That's why you see that it's sitting on a nice set of 20-inch wheels with Toyo Proxy 888Rs all around, because, well, even with 1,000 horsepower or 700 horsepower, you need good traction in order to put that horsepower down, because this thing is on another level of stupid. It is an amazing vehicle. You're going to love it. And today we're going to talk about the 5 things I truly love about this Dodge Durango Hellcat and 5 things that I dislike about it. And quite honestly, it was kind of hard to come up with a dislike list, but I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have driven about 10,000 miles on it, so I would say I kind of know what I'm talking about, and I have pushed this thing to the limits already. So without further ado, guys, let's get this video going. So first things first, guys, let's talk about the 5 things I truly like or love about this Dodge Durango Hellcat. But before we even do that, if you purchased one of them, or if you're looking to purchase one of them, I want you and need you to understand how rare this piece actually is. Yes, it's an SUV, which usually is not like a low production vehicle that any brand really makes, but there's only 3,000 units that were made of this Dodge Durango Hellcat. There's 3,300 units made of the Dodge Demon, which everybody knows is the highest horsepower production legally made drag strip vehicle that does like what, 8 seconds or 9 seconds quarter mile from factory. Technically they made about 3,400 units of this because there were so many orders placed that Dodge had to make more, but even then 3,400 units of a SUV, third row SUV is really low. And quite honestly, there's a lot of them being wrecked right now, so that's a good thing for anybody looking for one, because they're just going up in value. And what truly sucks, well, I guess good for us, is that SRT is actually getting rid of the Hellcat motor in the next few years, and they're focusing on V8s and hybrids and all of the garbage that, quite honestly, with all due respect, none of us are looking forward to or excited about. So that's why my wife and I are definitely going to hold on to this unit. And on that note, let's talk about the number 1 and number 2 things on my list that I truly love about this car, and that is the power and the performance of this third row 5,700-pound SUV, and that is the 6.2 liter Hellcat motor that they stuffed underneath the hood of this Dodge Durango. 710 horsepower. I cannot say that enough. Why on God's green earth is this even allowed or able to be made into a third row SUV that nobody will ever put this horsepower down on the road? I have no idea, but I will never complain about it. It is matched to an 8-speed ZF transmission, I think, if I'm not mistaken, with an all-wheel drive system that does an amazing job of making this thing hook. 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds from factory. Less than 4 seconds on this 6,000-pound vehicle. Guys, what? I'm going to be honest here. I'm just going to go on a little loop or on a side note here. If Dodge, and I hope they somehow watch this video, decides to make a minivan that has a Hellcat motor, I will be the first one on the list to buy one of those.
Damn, what is that, bro?
Promise you. And I'm going to be drag racing it as well. Wife is against it, doesn't matter, it's for me anyway. So anyways, guys, power and performance, this thing is just on another level. Now if you look on the side of it, now hopefully I can kind of put this together and show you what I'm talking about, but this is a Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk that has been extended to add a third row in the vehicle. Just added a few more feet in the back so you can add a third row, and of course have a little bit more trunk space as well. But this longer wheelbase literally makes this thing fly like crazy. And by the way, guys, if you want to see this 1,000 horsepower Dodge Durango racing on the street at the drag strip as well, click on the links down below after you finish watching this video to see how amazing this thing performs and how much how crazy it does on the drag strip, because it just blew my mind the first time I took it, and it never stopped since. So we are going to be building this to a lot more horsepower because I know it can take. And number 3 on my list is, of course, the looks of this Dodge Durango Hellcat. Guys, I know that you're going to say, hey, for the most part it does kind of look like the same as the other ones, but quite honestly it really doesn't, because, well, first off, there's a few things that it's got going for it. This emblem right here, it is the biggest emblem I've ever seen on the vehicle. Like most Charger and Hellcats and things like that and Challengers, this is substantially smaller. So whenever somebody, or if you're passing somebody, of course you're passing somebody. No! and they see what that is, they are not messing with you whatsoever because they know what you're driving. The front end of this thing looks so much more aggressive than the standard Durango. I love the redesign of the headlights with the LEDs that are kind of got the two lines, two strips going on both sides. It just looks so freaking mean with that front end on there. And they did add a front lip to make it more aggressive, and if you look on the side, it truly does make the front bumper pop. It's just got such an aggressive front end look to it. Like I said, the Hellcat, everything just looks so nice on this thing. Legitimately, it just doesn't look like a standard little SUV, third row SUV, boring ones like, I don't know, Tahoes, Yukons and stuff like that.
This is brilliant, but I like this.
This is just on another level beautiful. If you come all the way around, even the taillights. Now I did tint mine, but it does look so good on the back end. I even love the roof spoiler. They literally thought of everything on this car. The massive exhaust tips, everything just looks so freaking menacing on it. I love that they cover the trailer, of course, hitch so you can't see it and it doesn't look ugly. Look at another Hellcat. That's what I'm talking about. Now it does have like the blackout emblems, which is beautiful, and I love that they did that. And you see the 4 sign for the all-wheel drive system. The Dodge emblems are blacked out so you can't even see those, but golly, that is beautiful. And yes, you read that right, it does run on E85, and this thing is a monster. But let's talk about the next thing on the list. And the number 4 thing on my list of what I truly love about this Dodge Durango Hellcat, and this is for anybody in every Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep product, and that is the comfort of every vehicle that they make. They literally go all out to make every seat and every driver feel like they're in the most comfortable and luxurious interior ever. Like, I mean, seriously, they go all out on this. Heated, cool seats, the monocoque interior. Look how plush this thing is. When you sit in this, it is like, I mean, nothing else competes. Like, you literally have to go into a German high-end product to be able to get these same comfortable seats. And even then, they're not as comfortable, but everything about this interior screams beauty. Now let's jump in here real quick and start this bad boy up. And of course, you got the push button. And you got the Hellcat emblem there, but you got a really nice dash there. Kind of reminds me of the Trackhawk where you got the gauges there the same. Yes, it's saying low tire pressure because we don't have any sensors in there because this is a drag pack. Then you got a really nice updated sound system here and touch screens and everything like that. It looks a lot more flush than the Trackhawk has it. Everything is done right. You got heated, cool seats. Of course, you got wireless charging there. You got DVDs in the back for the kids while you're gapping people and racing them. Carbon fiber accents everywhere. I mean, this thing is beautiful, extremely comfortable, guys. I cannot say it enough. When I took this thing to the drag strip, even with no AC, I'm like, dude, I don't care, because I can literally fall asleep in this seat. It is so freaking comfortable, feels amazing. I mean, nothing out there competes. Like, this is why I keep coming back to the Dodge and Chrysler products. This is my third, I guess you can say, Hellcat wise. I had a Charger, had another Charger red-eyed, then I had a Trackhawk. So this is actually my 4th, and I did have a Scat Pack. So 5 Chrysler products, and I keep coming back. And yes, I paid $100,000 for this Dodge Durango Hellcat, and I'll do it again in a heartbeat because nothing out there competes, guys. And the last thing on my top 5 list of everything that I love about this Dodge Durango, which quite honestly was really hard to come up with because I love everything about it, and quite honestly I would buy another one if I could, but that would be the durability of this Hellcat motor. Now I know a lot of you are going to say, hey man, look, you're pushing, well in your case, 1,000 horsepower through this Hellcat 6.2 liter. I mean, it's going to wear out at some point, right? Well, yes and no. So here's the thing about it, guys. When they made this motor, I'm pretty sure they knew what they were doing when it comes to reliability and durability of it, because I have a lot of friends that are almost 100,000, if not 120, 140,000 miles on these Hellcat motors that have been modified, and they are running forever. Like, the blocks themselves are doing an amazing job. My buddy has had one that is right about to hit 100,000 miles. His name is Michael, of course. He has been racing it, drag strip, everything like that, and it's still running amazing. The only thing he's done is, of course, a little bit of transmission work because his last one blew up and caught on fire, but that's his fault. And then, of course, the normal things, the normal wear and tear items, which would be like the blower snout here and the bearings, because I mean, when you're pushing so much through the blower, which is I think a 2.4 liter or 2.7 liter, it does wear out over time. So if you do the regular maintenance and keep up with that and replace the snout bearings and stuff like that, the motor itself will run forever. Just do the constant and normal, of course, oil changes, transmission flushes, and quite honestly, there's no reason why this thing won't last you over 100,000 miles. Even in our case, we're going to be pushing a lot more horsepower of it than most people will. But speaking about durability, let's take this bad boy on the road and let's get it to whine a little bit. And yes, this one does have a leg maker intake, so if you are looking to purchase one, or if you haven't purchased one, please buy one, because you're about to hear the most amazing sound out of a supercharged motor you've ever heard. So let's hop in and take a quick ride. All right, guys, so let's take this bad boy on a quick spin around town and show you how amazing it drives. Now, that whine you're hearing,
Nice.
So that is the intake. That is the supercharger intake on these Hellcat motors. It sounds amazing. Now this one does have a leg maker intake, so it's about 30 to 40% louder for a good reason. Everything else is stock, guys. Even though we're pushing 1,000 horsepower, we're running on E85. Not bad at all. It does stock exhaust, everything. So this is exactly what your Durango Hellcat will sound like when you're driving it normally. So it does have a little bit of a hum in the back. That's just normal, especially with third row, though. It's so far back there you don't really hear. And for my kids, we got 3 of them that kind of enjoy that sound, and it helps them go to sleep. But the crazy thing about this is how wild this ride actually is, in a good way, guys. So we're talking about performance, right? Here's something about most brands out there. Well, first off, any brand that's pushing 500 to 600 to 700 horsepower in their cars usually is like an you know, I would say, oh, I don't know, like a German product. And in most cases they have more torque than horsepower because, well, most vehicles that do have this much horsepower or keeping V8s out there in their platforms are luxury brands, and luxury brands don't really focus on being able to rip whenever you press the gas pedal. Most of them focus on having enough torque to really get that car going without really having to rev up in the RPMs and make it a more of a unsubtle or very like uncomfortable ride where you really got to rev the car to take off. So in most German cars you have a lot of torque, less horsepower. In that case, whenever you press on whatever supercharged twin turbo whatever motor they have, you got that 1 to 2 seconds of lag before the car realizes what you're doing. They're like, wait a minute, no. So but in the Mopar product or in the Hellcat motor with the supercharger, there is no lag. Like if you press this gas pedal, and I don't care if your leg cramped up and you did it by accident, you are going, you are gone. Like there's no turning back. You will be planted into that seat and there's no turning back. So you better know what you're doing, because it is one wild ride, and that's what I love about it. It's like it's an untamed vehicle, you know. Like I said, everything else it's designed to be like, oh, this thing could take the best curves, or oh, it makes you feel the most comfortable. Yes, it's got power, but we don't care about that. We really want you to enjoy your drive. Dodge was like, hey man, we slapped the V8 supercharger in this thing because we had some laying around, and we hope you know what you're doing, because here it is, and it's yours, and go have some fun. It just gets your blood going, man. I'm telling you, when you get into a Hellcat vehicle, Trackhawk, Charger, Challenger, Durango, it's like, dude, you better be ready. You better know what you're doing. Oh, we're still put this in the minivan. I can't. I'm not even joking. I would love to drive one in the minivan. Now I know Tavares is making one, so if there's any way I could drive that thing and do a video on it, or even buy it from him, we'll absolutely do it. As long as it's all-wheel drive, because front-wheel drive will be useless. But this thing, performance-wise, is on another level, guys. Long wheelbase. Yes, it weighs more, but it only weighs 70 pounds more than the Trackhawk. But you get third row, and longer wheelbase actually helps you take off because you get better traction. So at the drag strip right now, with 1,000 horsepower, technically like 830 wheel, we're running right at like 681 to 8, which is probably a mid to low 10-second quarter mile, guys. 0 to 60 less than 3 seconds. It is crazy, and the thing that's limiting us right now is literally the fact that we don't have any traction whatsoever. I love this car, guys. I cannot stress it enough. My wife loves it. We loved our Trackhawk. Unfortunately, got total, so that's why in this thing, the plans we have for this car, the plans I have for this car, guys, you definitely want to click that subscribe button, because the things that are coming, the things this thing is going to do, if this thing doesn't go viral by the end of the year, I don't know what to do. But I know this thing is going to, well, it's going to hurt a lot of feelings. But all right, let's hop out real quick and go over the list of things I don't like about the Durango. And quite honestly, there's no vehicle out there that's perfect, so there is things that are, I guess you can say, flaws that are present with this Durango Hellcat. Now, speaking of miles per gallon, they advertised 12 to I think 17, so 12 city, 17 highway. I'll be honest, guys, even just daily driving it on, I would say 80% highway, my wife or I never got anywhere near 17. Yeah, non-existent. 12, no. I think the best I got was like 11 miles per gallon, and that was driving, like I said, mostly highway. So right now we're getting like 10 miles a gallon on 93, and I am running E85. So of course, for anybody that runs E85 or ethanol knows that you usually get a little worse gas mileage because you go through more fuel. So we are getting like 9.1 miles per gallon, but it is cheaper fuel as well, so it kind of balances itself out. So miles per gallon, guys, if you're going to be driving anything but besides like a completely straight road, you will never, honestly, never get even 15 to 16 miles a gallon. I have no idea how they did it. I have no idea how they passed the emissions. With all due respect, Dodge, Chrysler, Mopar, whatever department you are, I don't know how you got it, but I can't get it. And I've tried everything. I've tried literally doing 60 miles per hour on the highway. I just can't get it done. So honestly, if you're getting one of these and you're going to daily drive it and not really even get on it much, expect probably 10 to 12 miles per gallon maximum that you're going to get on it. Please somebody prove me wrong. My Instagram is down below. Please message me, send me a screenshot of what your Durango Hellcat gets, but I just don't see how that's possible. So anyways, let's move on to the next thing. So let's talk about the number 2 point on the things I dislike about this Dodge Durango Hellcat. So remember how I told you guys that they literally took a Trackhawk Jeep Grand Cherokee and they kind of just, you know, extended it, made it a little bit longer to add a third row in there. Well, when they did that, they kind of didn't think about everything else. So what I mean by that is, believe it or not, your leg space here and your second row space in the back is exactly the same as in the Trackhawk. Now the problem with that is that you don't have a lot of space when it comes for the second row, or if you have, for example, in my case, a car seat here without really squishing right there and quite honestly touching the TV screens, and having a comfortable driver like me that's 6'3". So what happens in a case like this, and what sucks, is that they extended the wheelbase, but they didn't extend the actual leg room for the driver or the second row, where they didn't even make the second row slidable, so that way you can actually be comfortable in the second row. So in my case, of course, the knees are always touching the steering wheel, no matter which side you're looking at. In this case, my knee is actually touching the volume button here, so I have to literally sit almost at a 90-degree angle to be anywhere near comfortable. So that means the steering wheel is super close to me, and it just makes it not a very comfortable ride. But I do remember that being a problem in the Trackhawk as well, so I hoped that they would extend it and make it feel a little bit better for the driver, but that didn't happen. So let me go around to the other side. Great third row, don't get me wrong. We have a car seat in the back of our third row there, and it quite honestly fits good. You do have a little bit of trunk space here, a little smaller of course than the Grand Cherokee would be, but when you put the seat down, so when it comes to the third row, they do have a little bit of leg space there. Even if an adult tried to sit there, you could probably kind of sort of fit there, but not for a long time. But here's the problem here. Like I said, if I was to sit here, I like the way they designed this little ridge so you can actually fit your knees around, which is not bad for second row seating. But then if you wanted to put somebody slightly bigger than, well, even if you try to put me in the back, it's just not going to work. So what they did, and I honestly wish they did a little bit differently, is that this was slidable. Like if you could have a little retractor and slide this back and forth, even an inch or two would substantially help. Now another cool thing though about the seating that they did on the Durango is that the fact that the second row is sitting a lot lower than the third row is. So if you look back there, the seat starts a lot higher. It's up here compared to down here for the second row. So anybody sitting in the third row actually has a really good viewpoint of anything that's happening in the front, including the TV screens, which is kind of a genius idea, and my daughter enjoys that. But again, I just wish that they made this slidable. That would have been so much better. But yeah, this seating position does remind me of how the G-Wagon is done as well, of course, because the front row sits a little bit lower than the back row. So it is kind of a cool way of designing it. But again, seating wise, I just wish I had a little bit more space there. So it is a third row vehicle, but I wouldn't call it a true official like full size third row like you would get in the I don't know, like a Tahoe or a GMC Yukon or anything like that. So, and the number 3 item of what I don't like about the Dodge Durango Hellcat, and quite honestly this applies to any Hellcat that you ever owned, and when I did a video on the Trackhawk as well, it's always been a problem, and that is the brake dust. Brake dust is insanely bad on these vehicles. Yes, I know that Dodge makes an extremely heavy vehicle, but that makes it extremely comfortable as well. And of course, to be able to stop such a heavy unit, you need heavy and big brakes, especially with high horsepower vehicles like these. And because of that, brake dust is always an issue. Literally, I just washed this like what, 2 days ago. Haven't done any heavy pulls besides what you just seen today. And on these bronze wheels, they're starting to look black. So of course we're gonna have to do a little bit of cleaning already. And with the black wheels that comes on this Durango from factory, they quite honestly look matte black by the time you even drive it for a week or so. So rear is not as bad, but still present, and you are able to see it. So I've heard a lot of people drop to or swap to power stop brakes, and I've heard about those. They're pretty good, or Z1 brakes, something like that, Z01 brakes. That's what we're going to put on this one after we'll wear these out, which won't take long. But again, I am thankful that they put big brake system on this cars, because it is 6,000 pounds that you have to stop, especially when you're at the drag strip doing well over 100 miles an hour in the 8th, and you got to stop before you run out of runway. So I do appreciate it, but I wish there was a better way of making these brake system work. Maybe putting some carbon ceramics in here. Yes, that would jack up the price, but quite honestly, it would be worth it on a vehicle like this. So just another thought. So be ready to wash your wheels really often. and go through a lot of car washes to get that brake dust off. And the number 4 on the list. Now again, I am extremely thankful that Dodge updated their Uconnect system. So for anybody that has had one that is I would say what, 2020 and older, you know what I'm talking about, because the Uconnect system here is extremely laggy and slow, and it is always updating itself and always has issues. But this one is quite honestly not bad here. Like, it is pretty responsive. Remember, to get to the SRT pages, it had to load forever. Well, in this case, it is pretty quick. Like, if you go under apps, let's see, and there's vehicle. See, look how fast that loaded in. That was never something that would happen on any other older model. But performance pages, remember I had to sit there and load? Nope, not anymore. The sucker loads in pretty quick. So as you can tell, our 60 foots are here. Don't look at those, that's the top secret information. Gauges, everything loads in a lot quicker. Dyno, G-force, I mean, it's awesome. I love the fact that they did it. So this is not the issue on the Mopar, and of course this is not the negative part of it. This right here is the problem of how slow it is in between shifting into different modes and showing different options and pages. So if I press a button like now, look how long it takes for it to actually shift over. Now it's just such a slow and laggy option. It's annoying how it takes forever for it to swap and go in between menus and stuff like that. So they definitely need to update this quite a bit, because, well, honestly, it does have a lot of problems. Now, one thing I want to show you is that right there, as you can see, well, the normal electrical issues that you'll have with Mopar, no more things that will come on. That is for the collision warning and the adaptive cruise control, which does not work on my vehicle. And we tried to update it and had my buddy stop by that had the program and software to do it. Turns out he can't do it because, well, it needs the new 2021 and 2022 program. So as you guys know, every brand designs it where you have to go to the dealership in order to do any sort of updates. So whatever's causing that malfunction there, you can't do it, and you can't clear unless you go to the dealership. I can't go to the dealership because my car is modified, and as soon as they plug into the ECM, all the warranty is voided. Like, legit, all the warranty. It might be a, I don't know, the DVD stop playing in the back, they'll throw in and be like, oh, yeah, you put an intake on and you put a different pulley on there and you tune the ECU. So now that's not covered either. So unfortunately, I'm kind of screwed when it comes to that, and I wish they didn't have an issue. As you can tell, literally I'm about to hit 10,000 miles, got 9935 on there, and I got those lights already on. So I guess we're just going to live with them. It doesn't really affect the ride of it, but just the electronics of it lagging already. Now this screen did act up before. It actually went into it did do like a random, really I guess you can call it an update slash just turned off on us, and it wouldn't turn back on. So it did happen once, but when it does work, like I said, it is awesome. It's very responsive, and I do love the Uconnect update on it. Look at this. When I'm turning the steering angle, it's showing me what it's doing. So when I put in launch control, it makes sure that my angle is correct and straight. But besides that, guys, I do love everything else, like the way it's updated. It looks so much nicer and unique and sleek. It just feels really good. But of course, you still got the same steering wheel. Hasn't changed since 2014 with all the same buttons on there. This does light up at night with red, which is pretty freaking cool, I'm not gonna lie. And the last thing, and the number 5 on my list of what I don't like about this Dodge Durango Hellcat, and quite honestly, it's just the looks. Now you're gonna say, now hold on, time out. You just said on your list of things you love about it is the looks, and I do love the way it looks. I just don't think it looks different enough from a regular Durango on the road, whether it's just a V6 to a V8 to an SRT to, well, this Hellcat. Now don't get me wrong, looks amazing, looks super sexy. I mean, you could take a photo shoot right now and it looks awesome. But now hear me out, and don't take this the wrong way, but Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, it doesn't matter, the Mopar product itself, they have a pretty decent issue of using the same front fascia, same body parts on whether it's a V6 to a V8 to a top of the line Hellcat like this one is. Now granted, yes, it does have a few things that make it stand out a little bit different, like the front lip right there, and no fog lights for better cooling, of course, for the coolers. But again, the bumper is the same, the headlights are the same. Yes, you got a hood there, but that's the same hood that they use on Hemis and SRTs. Besides that, and a small little SRT emblem right there, which right now you can barely see. You wouldn't even know this is a Hellcat unless it's flying past you, or of course whining with the bigger intake we have on there. On the side, yes, you do have a little bit of fender flares here, but again, it's barely slightly noticeable. Same on the Chargers, whether it's a Hellcat or a GT, it doesn't matter. They use the same front end, rear, like This looks exactly the same as on the base Durango. And it doesn't look bad, it just doesn't look different enough. Now, if you're looking at a different brand, let's say a Stingray Corvette to a 06 Corvette, you know there's a big difference. The whole body is different, it's wider, it sits more stanced. But a Chrysler product or a Dodge has always been known for using the same parts on whatever you're buying. They'll just slap a bigger motor in there, but it just doesn't pop enough to tell you that, hey, you didn't spend $40,000 on the Durango, you spent $100,000 on this thing. So I just wish they would adjust that. Not a big deal, of course, because you're not buying it just for the looks, you're buying it for the power and the comfort, of course. But I just wish it would be a little bit nicer and it looked a little bit more bad A, I guess you can say. But if you've enjoyed this video, guys, I love bringing this kind of content to you guys. If you do like it, comment down below what else you want to see. Of course, if you want to see racing videos, those are on my channel. Literally every other video is racing, street racing. We do it all, drag racing. And then we have some review videos as well. But if you love what you've seen, drop a like, drop a comment. Of course, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy your lives, enjoy your cars, and I will see you next time. Peace.